here last year, Karen and I, my wife, we thoroughly enjoyed it. We wouldn't miss this for the world. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the McKibbins for hosting this wonderful event, giving us the opportunity to talk to so many great activists here in the Marshalltown County area. Before I get started, I'd like to talk about a couple people, and one is Dean Fisher, who is not here. An old coach told me once, he said, Rod, you can really tell a lot about a man's character if you look at what he does when no one else is looking. And if you look at what Dean Fisher does when no one else is looking, he's taking his expense money that he could be putting in his pocket for staying in Des Moines, driving back and forth. I think it's around $13,000 a year. He takes that money and donates it to volunteer organizations in his district. I find that amazing, and I think you're absolutely blessed to have Dean Fisher. And I'm also so happy to hear that Jane is going to run, and this time she is going to be elected. It reminds me of a story by Lou Holtz, the football coach, former football coach in Notre Dame, and this will make sense in a second. He said that the greatest defensive end he ever coached was Billy Ray Smith at the University of Arkansas. He said Billy Ray Smith wasn't the greatest defensive end that I ever coached because he never got knocked down. He said he was great because when Billy Ray got knocked down, he immediately got back up and took the shortest distance to the ball carrier and arrived there in a bad mood. This reminds me of Jane Yek. She's successful because she's been knocked down in politics a few times before, but she keeps getting back up and she keeps fighting and she fights with a smile. And Jane, you are going to win this time and be a great legislator. And then our cheerleading table over here. I was in Washington, D.C. 2 weeks ago calling on organizations to help raise money for our campaign. And Joni Ernst, I guess, was in D.C. the same week. And the first question they'd ask me, I'd say, Rod Blum, I'm the congressional nominee for the 1st District in Iowa. They go, Iowa? First question they'd ask is, can Joni Ernst win? Yeah. Can Joni Ernst win? Can Joni Ernst win? A great United States Senator. And then sitting right next to her, Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds, and what can we say about what her and the Governor Branstad have done in the state of Iowa? We need to take that common sense to Washington, D.C. A marvelous job. Absolutely marvelous. Someone commented on my boots this evening. That reminded me of a story about Congressman Steve King. Most of you probably know Steve. He's a pretty bright guy. Very bright guy. And we were at the Iowa Firearm Coalition rally in Searsboro, Iowa last summer. And I thought, I'm gonna make Steve King speechless for the first time. Because I looked down at his boots, and he had on some fancy ostrich skin, shiny, pointy-toed boots. So I walked up and I said, Congressman, good to see you. He said, good to see you, Rod. I said, you've been in Washington, D.C. too long. He looked at me and goes, why would you say that? I said, look at your boots. I said, they're fancy, ostrich skin, pointy toes, perfectly polished. I said, look at these boots, Congressman. These boots have been out in the Iowa farm field. These boots have had mud on them. And without missing a beat, he looked at me and said, where did you rent them? True story. True story. I've been campaigning for about 15 months. And the word that keeps coming up on the campaign trail is common sense. Common sense. People say that's just common sense. Iowa common sense is what we need to take to Washington, D.C., do we not? I always tell people my views aren't libertarian or conservative or liberal or moderate or right or left. They're Iowa common sense. I think it's Iowa common sense to balance our federal budget. You all balance your budgets. The state of Iowa has balanced their budget. We need to balance the budget in Washington, D.C. It's Iowa common sense. People say to me they think it's Iowa common sense that President Obama takes seriously his oath of office when he said he would preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. It's common sense you should take that seriously. The question I get asked more than anything on the campaign trail is, Rod, how does President Obama get away with fill in the blank? Fill in the blank. How does he get away with not enforcing the Defense of Marriage Act? How does he get away with selectively enforcing immigration laws? How does the NSA get away with spying on American citizens without warrants? How does the IRS get away with auditing conservative groups like the Tea Party? And it goes on and on and on. My friends, this November, let's send a message to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that no one, including the President of the United States, is above the law. I think it's Iowa common sense. We have the finest entrepreneurs and small Main Street businesses in the world. Right here in Iowa. I think it's Iowa common sense. You know, if we get off of small businesses' backs and out of their back pockets, if the government would do that, the federal government, they would grow. They would create jobs. It's in their DNA. I'm a small business person. It's in my DNA. Get off their backs, get out of their way, they will grow. John F. Kennedy was right in 1960, and he's right today when he said, a rising tide lifts all boats. We're not going to be talking about the minimum wage like the Democrats are, or the fair wage. Let's get this economy nationwide booming again so everybody's wages go up. Let's make the pie bigger. Let's not argue about who gets how small of a piece of a shrinking pie. We need to grow the pie. That is Iowa common sense. And lastly, I think it's Iowa common sense for us not to believe for a second that Bruce Braley and Pat Murphy, who is my opponent, are going to solve our problems. I think it's Iowa common sense, and I know Joni would agree, they are the problem. We need to retire Pat Murphy and retire Bruce Braley. I just want to leave you with this thought. I was talking to a lady from California who met Ronald Reagan, and I'm jealous. Ronald Reagan is my political hero. And he famously said, as we go forward, my friends, let us not raise the flag of pale pastels. Let's be proud of who we are and the principles we believe in, and let us raise a flag of bold colors. This is our time. This is our election. 2014 is going to be a fantastic year. We've got great candidates up and down the tickets. Republicans are energized. We can do this. This is our time. I'm so excited that you're all here, and let's make it happen in November. Thank you very much.